viewers, we're coming to you live from a rain-drenched morning here in Mumbai. I'm standing outside Devendra Fadnavis' residence. I'm Paulami Saha, and the latest breaking news that we're getting to you top of this hour is this. No Maha Special Assembly session today. Remember, there was to be a floor test. A special assembly session had been called today, but because Chief Minister Uddhav Thackeray has resigned, that special assembly session has now been cancelled. Also, what we're learning from our sources is that Devendra Fadnavis and the rebel Shinde camp is likely to stake claim to form government in Maharashtra. Also, what our sources are telling us viewers is that Devendra Fadnavis may take oath tomorrow to become the 20th Chief Minister of Maharashtra. And also, what we know now is exclusive details of the full Fadnavis-Shinde formula. That full Fadnavis-Shinde formula has been revealed here on India Today. We'll get you those details on the arrangement that has been struck between Devendra Fadnavis and Eknath Shinde as they, of course, jointly stake claim to form the next government of Maharashtra. My colleague Dev Kotak is now joining me live from outside Matoshri in Mumbai. Dev, obviously the fact is that Uddhav Thackeray resigning was something which was possibly anticipated for a while, that he might not go for that floor test, especially because those numbers didn't seem in his favor. But otherwise, his task is cut out now. He did say, of course, towards the end of that speech, that henceforth, I will be sitting back in the Shiv Sena Bhavan every day, meeting my people, because the task before him, Dev, is to resurrect the Shiv Sena right now.
Yes, absolutely. At this point in time, given the fact that he's freshly resigned last night and this battle is far from over, one thing he wants to ensure and keep intact is the morale of his party workers. The morale seems to have been dented, and a lot of karyakartas and party workers are really upset and miffed about the fact, and especially the manner, the hostile takeover through which their chief minister was dethroned and the BJP Sarkar is coming into power. Of course, we know that they will form the government tomorrow, as July 1st is being listed as a tentative date, where the new incoming Chief Minister of Maharashtra and former Chief Minister BJP's Devendra Fadnavis, along with his new Council of Ministers, will be taking oath. However, deciding on the state cabinet and who will form a part of the Council of Ministers is not something he has spoken of or about. Later during the day, when Eknath Shinde, the leader of the rebel MLA's camp, comes to Bombay along with the other MLAs, only then a lot of things will be clear. But as per Supreme Court procedures and the instructions that have been given, the floor test will happen either way, despite the fact that Mr. Uddhav Thackeray has already resigned, and somewhere he believed that he will not be able to prove a majority and the kind of numbers that are required to exhibit a show of strength and ensure that his party still remains in power. But however, this situation where a parallel to the Karnataka situation of 2018 can be brought, it is much more complex. In Karnataka, there was no, there was definitely a hostile takeover where BJP, the single largest party, even though it had won, JDS and Congress moved in together to form the government. And B.S. Yediyurappa, the Karnataka Chief Minister, who took oath much later, was barely able to hold on to power for 56 hours, which is less than 3 days. And the other more important thing that we need to observe and keep in mind is the fact that in the Karnataka situation, there was no power struggle, and of course there was definitely no fight for the party symbol. However, this seems to be a bigger problem here, where
absolutely, that is going to be very critical as far as this tussle within the Shiv Sena is concerned, as to who exactly keeps the Shiv Sena symbol, who exactly keeps the party name, and who is the real Shiv Sena. Dev, stay on with us. Nagarjun Dwarkanath, of course, is now joining us live from outside the Taj in Goa. Who better knows what happened in Karnataka than Nagarjun? But Nagarjun, you're in Goa right now. Good morning to you. What is the Shinde camp doing? When are they likely to leave? When are they likely to join hands with Devendra Fadnavis quite publicly in order to stake claim to form the new government of Maharashtra? Nagarjun.
Paulami, good morning to you as well. What we are picking up is that till late last night, till 1 o'clock in the morning, there were discussions with Fadnavis over the phone here. Pramod Sawant, Goa Chief Minister, was also here. Goa Organizing Secretary of BJP, Mr. Satish Danud, was also here. So through them, there was a channel that was connected, and Fadnavis was also on the phone and talking to Eknath Shinde and for coming up with further strategy. And this morning at 10 o'clock also post breakfast, Eknath Shinde and his MLAs here will assemble in Taj and they'll speak about what is the strategy. And remember, the permutation combinations and fine tuning has to be done. Who gets what? 9 of Shinde camp rebel MLAs who are ministers in the Aghadi government. Will they keep them and continue with them? And most likely that others also will have to get a bigger chunk in the Shinde camp. And will Shinde get the deputy CM? This is the big question that people are asking. But of course there will be talks that has already been done. Only the fine tuning part is remaining. We are also picking up from our sources in the hotel that most likely that Shinde will go to Mumbai today first and get the fine print back to Goa, and then only there will be a show of strength when in the swearing-in ceremony. Most likely tomorrow is what we are being told, that Fadnavis want to be sworn in as Chief Minister. Shinde will head to Mumbai post-lunch, and then the MLAs. That's the plan 1. Plan B or plan number 2 will be that everyone will go back to Mumbai this evening, but they have been told to stay put here in Goa at least till afternoon. Post the meeting, they will also head to Mumbai. But the question that they're also discussing is if they have to give up the letter saying we support BJP to form the government, will that be considered? Because who's the real Shiv Sena, who's the real chief whip, who's the leader of the legislative party? That's the big question. So all that will have to be discussed, but most likely that Eknath Shinde will take a printout of the Shiv Sena letterhead saying that they are the real Shiv Sena and he's the legislative party leader and they officially support in favor of BJP.